Andy, I arrived as soon as I...
Well, good morning to you, too.
I got a message from Andy. She said it was very important. What's wrong?
Nothing with Andy that I know of. Care to join me?
No, sorry. I'm going to go and find out.
I sent the message.
You?
Yeah, I'm the one with the problem.
Oh, I might have known that. Good day, Mr.
I can't let you go. And I mean that in every possible way.
Viki! Oh, I'm glad I caught you before you left.
Well, just barely, darling. I can't be late for court this morning.
Oh, well, that's just what I wanted to talk to you about. I'm going with you.
Really? I thought you weren't going to Megan's trial.
Well, Megan's part of the family, isn't she? And I wanted to be there and support her just like the rest of the Buchanans.
Honey, why don't you just come right out and ask me if court is going to be there?
Viki, of course. Honestly, I want to be there for Well, is he?
I assume so. Why?
Because I decided I'm going to take your advice. Since I can't live without court, I just decided that I'm going to try and win him back, but I don't have a chance without your help.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I stand before you an innocent woman. Oh, yeah, right. No one's going to believe me in this suit.
I don't know. I believe you.
Jake, this is serious, okay? I have to create the right courtroom image.
Megan, just slow down, relax. Just remember, you're not performing today. You're going to go out there, you're going to be yourself in the courtroom.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm afraid of, but I'm not performing. At least then the writers can make sure that I don't get into any trouble. Of course, what am I talking about, right? I don't need a writer. This is real life. And in real life, innocent people don't go to jail, right?
Right.
Right. So, I'm sure the judge is a good man. I'm sure that he'll take one look at this case and he'll throw it out before the trial even begins. You don't believe that, do you? You think I'm going to go to jail, don't you?
Here's what to do when you don't find the rainbows in this time. Here's where you go when it looks like the rain won't end. Don't cry. I'll give you tomorrow. Let me be the one to share it with. And each day that follows, 'cause we only have one life to live.
Megan, I meant exactly what I said. You are innocent, and there is no way in hell Herb Callison can prove you otherwise.
He has a gun that killed Michael Grande with my fingerprints on it.
Yeah, well, that's all just circumstantial evidence. Believe me, I've been in more courtrooms than you have. That kind of thing just almost never holds up.
Yeah, well, almost is not never, Jake. And
Would you
what
just
about the exceptions?
Stop thinking that way. You've got yourself a great attorney. I'm sure Nicholas has been through many battles like this. He'll take the best shot the DA has to offer. He's going to throw it right back in his face. Besides, anybody with half a brain would know that you couldn't kill Michael.
Well, if you're just saying all this to make me feel better, don't stop.
I won't. Besides, I'm going to stay as close to you as possible during the whole trial, as a matter of fact.
Do you promise?
I promise. I have a vested interest here.
You know, I may look calm and collected on the outside, but I'm a mess on the inside.
That'll be our little secret, okay? And I'm sure when you go into that courtroom and you start telling the jury your story, they'll see that they believe you, and that panic will go right away. Okay? Trust Jake. He knows.
Tina, I don't really think I said that you should go after him.
Yes, you did. You said if I still felt so deeply in love with him that
Honey,
I
wait, okay? I think you caught me at a moment when I was in a big hurry, and I'm afraid I spoke hastily. I have thought about it since then. And I have to admit, I was wrong. The time has come for you to let Cord go and get on with your life.
Viki, I can't. I have tried putting the past behind me, and it just won't stay there. And I've tried winning Cord back, and that hasn't worked either. And I need your help, Viki. I can't manage by myself.
Oh, that's silly. Of course you can manage by yourself. You can manage perfectly well without me or Cord. You just don't want to admit it.
Viki, I am not like you. I don't want to be mayor of Lambview. I don't want to run a newspaper.
But you have your interior design business, and you're good at that.
But, look, I love my work, but it means nothing to me without my family. Nothing. That's the whole challenge. I have to make Cord think of us like a family again.
Well, you've certainly been spending time with him and CJ.
Yeah, but it's just, a few minutes here or an hour there. He spends more time with Gabrielle than he does with me. Viki, I need you.
No, Tina, don't involve me in this, please.
Come on, Viki, it's nothing really horrible. I want Asa to throw a family dinner.
You want Asa to throw a family dinner? Why? What's the occasion?
Well, you know what Asa's always saying. He's saying that we should, circle the wagons, right? Well, what better time and what better place than right now? I mean, as head of the Buchanan family, Asa can bring us all together like we need it, when we need it the most. Okay. When I need it the most. But, Viki, if I ask Asa, he's going to turn me down flat, whereas if you ask him...
Oh, sweetheart, wait a minute.
Please.
Look, I'm not opposed to the idea of a family dinner, but I truly do not have the time to try and talk Asa Buchanan into anything at the moment. I have far more pressing concerns.
Oh, more pressing than your little sister.
Oh, honey.
Viki, I need you.
Tina, honey, I feel for you. Truly I do. I sympathize with you. But if I don't go right now, I'm going to be late at court. If you are insistent upon having this dinner party, then you just have to take the chance and talk to Asa by yourself.
But you know what he's going to say.
Oh, Tina, I don't have time to talk about this now. All right, I tell you what. Come with me right now in the car, now, and we'll discuss it on the way. Come on.
Somehow I knew you'd be the first one here. Always so diligent. That's what sets you apart.
You're pretty diligent yourself, Dorian. You've even taken to doing my job for me.
Herb, what do you mean by that? Megan should get a medal?
Oh, but there's more. Sure, she killed Michael Grande, but is that such a bad thing?
Who is responsible for this yellow, sensational... Rod Riviera, I should have known.
What else did you say to this man?
Herb, he told me he was writing a book. I didn't know he was a reporter until after we spoke.
In other words, you're not sorry about what you said. You're only sorry because he printed it.
That is not fair. That man lied to me. This Riviera character, he twisted and distorted all my statements.
You didn't say that Megan had done everyone a favor, and I quote, by bumping off Michael Grande?
You have to consider the context.
Oh, or how about this? No one in this town could blame her for killing that rat.
I never used the word rat. I may have said skunk.
Dorian, do me a favor. In the future, when a reporter or a writer or an ice cream vendor asks your opinion of Megan, zip your lip.
Herb,
Zip it! I'm going to have enough trouble trying this case in a court of law. I don't need my ex-wife retrying it in the scandal sheets. Or do you have some special reason for wanting to get Megan yourself?
Would you please let me past?
You just got here.
Why are you smiling?
You? I mean, you work so hard telling me you don't want to see me again, yet you do everything that tells me otherwise.
You know, you really ought to do something about this ego of yours.
I will, once you do something about that fear of yours.
I'm not afraid of you.
No, I know that. You're not afraid of me, but you're afraid of your feelings. They terrify you. You're too scared to even know you're scared.
All right. You're half right. My feelings do frighten me.
Does that feel better to admit it?
No. And it doesn't mean that I want to see you. It doesn't mean that I can see you.
Is it the fire?
No, it's not the fire. It's me. There are things about my past I want to forget. I want to think about the future. It's best for my son and for myself.
I can help you.
No, you can't help me. Because you're the one who brings up those feelings. Those feelings that should be dead, I wish they were dead. I wish you would get out of my life.
You don't mean that. You can't get me out of your system. I mean, the way we feel for each other.
It's over. It's the way it has to be. I'm sorry. It has to be that way.
It can't be that easy.
Would you please get the message? I don't want you. Now, for the last time, would you please move out of my way?
Honestly, Herb, you act as though I have some personal vendetta against Megan.
You said it, I didn't.
Do you really think I want to see her punished for Michael's murder?
It's a good question. Suppose you answer it.
There's only one person who has to answer to anything today. Excuse me. How dare you show your face here?
Well, it's nice to see you again, too, Dorian.
You just wipe that smug grin off your face, or I'll do it for you.
My goodness. Was it something I said?
No, no. It was something you wrote, if you call that writing.
Everybody's a critic.
You lied to me.
I beg your pardon. I never lie.
You told me you were writing a book.
I am. I've already done the deal for the paperback rights. It'll be out as soon as the trial's over.
Oh, of all the nerve. You're not a writer. You're not even a reporter. No, you're a body snatcher. You crawl around late at night with your National Intruder press card, trying to unearth things that should remain private and buried.
Oh, come on. Drop the act. Why can't you just admit that you loved seeing your name in the headlines?
Body snatcher was kind. You're a ghoul.
I'm just a hard-working guy who appreciates a woman like you. You love to throw bricks at all the hypocritical windows in this town, especially Buchanan windows. You ought to thank me, Dorian.
Thank you. I can't tell you.
Have I hit a nerve?
I used to sympathize with the press. Now they look like sharks circling for the kill.
Well, Megan has handled a room full of reporters before.
I know, darling, but she has an awful lot to deal with today. I mean, it's not just the trial. Her father's so ill.
If anyone can get through this with her chin up, it's your daughter.
Mrs. Buchanan, how do you feel about your daughter's chances?
She's innocent. A lawyer will prove that.
Will you use the mayor's office to protect Megan? If she's convicted, will you resign?
All right, that's enough.
No, darling, I can answer these questions. No, I have no intention of using my position as mayor to protect my daughter. She does not need it. She is innocent. Her trial will prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that, I believe, answers your question as well.
Hey, here she is.
Hey, keep it back, keep it back.
Is it true that you hated Michael Grande?
Yeah, how about a statement for your fan club?
She's not going to make any statements. Her actions speak in volumes for themselves. Hey, I can deal with this. They're just nothing but kangaroos in a courthouse. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, Megan is just a victim of a trapeze of justice. She should not be on trial. She should be in front of the camera, smiling for her fans. That's her job. That's a profession,
Okay, what
unlike murder.
Mr. Littman means to say here is Megan is innocent.
That's what I said.
So as soon as all the facts have been presented, I'm sure it'll be apparent that there's no need for a
How about
trial.
it, Megan? Yeah, do you let these guys speak for you? I can speak for myself, and all I can say is that I'm not in the
All
least
right,
bit
that's
worried.
enough questions. Let the lady into the courtroom.
Yeah, come on, keep it back, keep it back.
You're the blocker, huh?
I'm sorry that Bo couldn't make it, but he's just swamped at the
I know,
studio.
I'm sure he's got a lot to do with fraternity row. He's got to try and write me out of every scene.
Hey, you are going to be back at that studio in no time. I just wish you would have let
Please,
me
please.
bring...
Don't start in on Jake.
I don't trust him, Megan.
Well, drop it, okay? Because I trust Jake with my life.
Famous last words. I hope you don't regret them.
Megan, if you come with me, please.
Sure, I will. Yours.
I'm glad you could be here for Megan.
Oh, nothing would keep me away. Not even
There's no change in your father's condition, is there? I'm so sorry.
Well, no, actually, that's just it. There has been a change. Yesterday, he made a sound.
He spoke? Roger spoke?
Well, no, it wasn't exactly a word, and the doctors assured me that it wasn't anything, but I know he was aware of my presence in that room, and I pray it means he's coming out of the coma.
I think we all have a lot to pray for today.
Oh, hey, well, before you get extremely comfortable, there's one thing you should check out.
Megan should get a medal. I just hope she didn't see it yet. Of all the people they could think of to nail for Michael's murder, they choose Megan. I can think of like one or two other people, starting with that Dorian Lord chick.
Hear ye, hear ye. Court of Common Pleas for Lantano County is now in session. Judge Anthony Powers presiding. All rise. Brenda? Hello? Is anybody here?
Here. I'm here.
You know, I was just over at the cottage, Brenda. I can't believe you spent the night here after our
Dad,
agreement.
I didn't spend the night here. I spent the night at the cottage. I just came back over here this morning.
Why?
Because I saw Michael Grande here last night.
Brenda, Michael is dead and buried.
Come here. Come on.
Brenda.
Here. After you left last night, I came back into this room and I saw Michael and he was standing right there. Now, I may seem calm about it now, but I tell you, I was not calm about it last night.
Brenda, what you saw was an hallucination, an after effect of the drug that Michael was giving you.
Well, that's what I concluded this morning in the light of day. But last night, he was so real to me.
Brenda, let's not talk about this, okay?
I need to talk about it, Dan. I really need to talk about this.
Brenda, not if it's going to stir up memories that are better left tucked away, okay?
How am I
better
going to tuck
left
him
unsaid.
away? He was real.
Brenda, don't do this to yourself, okay? Please, don't do this to yourself.
He had his eyes closed, Dan, and I asked him why, and he said, you know why.
Of course not, Brenda. He's dead. That's why.
No. That's what I thought at first, too. And I asked him again. And he kept saying over and over again, you know why. You know why. And that's why I had to come back here this morning, because I have to figure out why, what he's talking about. I think he's telling me that I know something, Dan. And not just that he's dead, but that I know something else.
Brenda, this whole...
No, wait. I want you to tell me, is there any way that I would know something that I am, forgetting, that I'm pushing down and forgetting on purpose?
Brenda,
what I
look,
did?
listen to me. This whole idea of seeing Michael is absurd, okay? It's crazy.
I think I know something. Something subconscious.
Brenda, please, stop upsetting yourself,
Something
okay? Please?
about the night that Michael died. Something about what happened in the hospital. And that's why I'm going to court, because I'm...
Brenda, you are not going to the trial. Please, Brenda, you are not going to the trial.
Yes, I am. What, aren't you?
Brenda, of course I'm going to the trial, but you are far from being over from this drug here. Brenda,
Listen,
please, in
I
your
would
condition,
be
the stress from that courtroom could kill you.
I will be so stressed out if I stay here. Dan, I gotta go to court. I've gotta find out. I've gotta remember what happened that night at the hospital.
Look, I will give you a report every day if necessary, but your place is with Stephen in the cottage.
No, my place isn't with Stephen. He's with the sitter right now. My place is in court. I want to stay there.
No, wait. If you're determined to do this, just let me go with you. Okay?
I can't let you go. And you don't want me to.
Oh, so now you seem to know what I want. Did your arrogance ever stop?
You call it arrogance. I call it instinct. And I got loads of it when it comes to you.
What do I have to do to make you realize that I mean what I say?
I only hear what you don't say.
Then perhaps you should get your hearing checked. For that matter, your whole head examined.
No, I don't need therapy, neither do you. You're the cure for my troubles, just like I'm the cure for yours.
Believe me, you're no cure.
I understand why you're afraid. You don't want to be hurt again. You don't want to get close to a man, then lose him, but you know, there's a greater loss. You gotta take the risk to lose everything, to love with abandon. Don't make that mistake.
I don't. Please. Please don't force me to stay.
Now, you should know by now. I won't force you into anything. You're free to go. So go.
Ladies and gentlemen, my job is not to edit the evidence. Yours is not to prejudge it. I intend to present the facts, and I know that you will interpret them in the only way possible. Now, I'm sure that most of you know Megan Gordon from television. I, like you, have admired her work as an actress. But in this court of law, I must be impartial, as must you. Megan Gordon has admitted to being in possession of the gun that killed Michael Grande. She has admitted to threatening Mr. Grande with that gun on the night of his death. We will show you that her fingerprints and her fingerprints alone were found on that gun. Now, of course, Miss Gordon will tell you that she only threatened the deceased. She will ask you to believe that she dropped the gun, that she fled, that she left the gun behind unfired. And yet, this woman, proclaiming her innocence, left town after being told specifically not to do so. Why did she do that? And why was it necessary for the police to issue an all-points bulletin for her arrest? We cannot offer an eyewitness to the shooting, but we can provide everything else you need to arrive at a verdict. And that verdict, ladies and gentlemen, will be painfully clear. Megan Gordon killed Michael Grande. She is guilty of murder in the second degree. Thank you.
Mr. Nichols?
Ladies and gentlemen, I won't waste your time. It's true. Megan Gordon is guilty. She is guilty of honesty, not murder. But someone is. The guilty person is not at the defense table, but somewhere here in this courtroom. The district attorney is on the record. He admits he had a number of suspects on his list. Any one of them could be sitting where Megan Gordon sits today. None had a better alibi than she has. None can prove where they were when Michael Grande was murdered. But more to the point, none had the courage to step forward as Megan Gordon did, to tell the district attorney of their confrontation with the late Mr. Grande on that fateful night. For her honesty, Miss Gordon is rewarded with a charge of murder. For their silence, the others are free and clear, except for their own guilty consciences, of course.
Your Honor, excuse me.
Mr. Callison, you had your opening statement. Mr. Nichols is entitled to his turn.
Yes, there's no question about that, sir. I believe the counsel should have the broadest latitude in his opening remarks. However, it cannot be allowed to obscure the very central issue of this case. Megan Gordon is the only one on trial here. He's throwing up a deliberate smokescreen to place suspicion on innocent people.
Your Honor, counsel forgets that Megan Gordon is also innocent until proven guilty or until someone else is.
Well, there it is again.
Mr. Callison, I've heard your objection, but I'm going to overrule. Mr. Nichols has every right to lay out his case for the jury in his own words, not yours. Proceed, Mr. Nichols.
Thank you, Your Honor. Who are these innocent spectators Mr. Callison mentioned? Let's take a good look at each of them, beginning with Dorian Lord. Miss Lord was in the hospital the night Michael Grande was killed. She admits that. But where was she at the time the gun was fired? She says she was wandering the halls, eavesdropping in stairwells. And then there's Brenda Grande, the grieving widow. She had been drugged by the deceased, or so we're told, and yet somehow she managed to vanish from her hospital bed at the time the bullet was fired. Which brings us to Dr. Dan Wolek, Mrs. Grande's personal physician and good friend. What a strange and convoluted story he has to tell. First, he insists that Brenda was in her room at the time of the murder. Then he admits he didn't see her there. How can we believe anything this man will say?
Your Honor, does Mr. Nichols intend to accuse everyone in this room?
Don't worry, Mr. Callison. I don't want to bore the jury or irritate you unnecessarily, but I do want to make it clear that every one of the suspects not only lacked a valid, believable alibi, but each had as good, if not a better reason than Megan Gordon to kill Michael Grande. Dan Wolek hated Grande for drugging Brenda and forcing her to marry him. Clint Buchanan blamed Grande for attempting to destroy his wife's campaign for mayor. Even Miss Gordon's friend, Jake Harrison, had a motive. He blamed Grande for setting him up and being sent to a Florida prison because of a job he had done for him. And what about Bo Buchanan? Don't bother looking around for him. He found better things to do today than attend these proceedings. And who had more motive for murder than Bo Buchanan? It was Michael Grande, who tried to blackmail his wife Sarah after her hit-and-run accident. It was Grande who helped put Sarah Buchanan behind bars. Any husband would resent that, hate that, even kill because of that.
Well, Your Honor, counsel has now moved from conjecture to outright accusation. I can only repeat, Megan Gordon is on trial here, nobody else.
Your Honor, I'm not accusing anyone of committing murder. That's Mr. Callison's province. But it is my obligation to stress that every one of the suspects had a motive to pull the trigger. Every one had the opportunity, yet only Megan Gordon is on trial. Why? Because she stepped forward and admitted she threatened Michael Grande. For that, she was chosen to take the fall for someone else's crime. Only the real killer knows what happened that night. Only he or she can tell you how and why Michael Grande met his death. Megan Gordon won't be able to tell you because she doesn't know. The prosecutor will attempt to prove otherwise. That's his job. But make no mistake, it is not my job to prove Ms. Gordon's innocence. The prosecutor must prove her guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you that Mr. Callison, as fine a prosecutor as he is, will not be able to prove Ms. Gordon's guilt. But I will go even further. By the time this trial is over, not only will you realize her innocence, but you will also learn who the real killer is.
Mr. Nichols, if you finished?
With my opening remarks? Yes, Your Honor. When it comes to shedding light on the facts of this case, I have only begun.
Mr. Callison, are you ready with your first witness?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. The people wish to call Dorian Lord to the stand.
Very well. But let's take a 5-minute break before proceeding any further. The court stands recessed.
All right, let's go stretch our legs before round one.
No, you go ahead. I'll catch up to you.
Okay.
Troy, congratulations. You did a hell of a job over there.
Well, thanks, Jake. But I expected a punch in the jaw, not congratulations.
Why? You did a great job of deflecting the guilt away from Megan.
Maybe, but I was deflecting it to you, among others.
You got a job to do, you do it. Whatever it takes to get Megan acquitted. Right?
Right.
Oh, I don't know how long I've waited to have you hold me like this.
I know the feeling. The whole time Herb was talking, I just want to jump over that rail, take you in my arms. Some things are worth waiting for.
Yeah, but we may have to wait for a very long time for some other things, like 10 or 20 years.
Don't think like that, okay? I'm sure the jury is going to believe you are innocent.
And what if they don't?
Truth is on your side. It's got to count for something. You are not a murderer. And I'm sure those 12 people back there are going to believe this.
It's very gratifying, isn't it, Asa?
What is it?
Well, the whole trial and everything.
Oh, sure. You like seeing Megan raked over the coals and everyone else in the family? Yeah, it's just a swell time.
No, that's not what I meant. I mean, I feel terrible about Megan, of course. It's just that the whole family is here. I mean, we're all here together, everybody except for Beau. I think we really circled the wagons.
Did we?
Asa, darling, I think Tina has a good point.
Thank you, Renee. I mean, I know it meant a lot to Megan to have us all here. I don't think that we should have to wait for times like this before we get together. You know, wouldn't it be wonderful if we gathered the whole family around the dinner table? You know, not at some anonymous restaurant, but at our own ancestral home?
Well, which home is that?
Well, yours, of course. And you're the patriarch of the family, right?
I beg your pardon.
It's no reflection on your age, honey.
You're just saying that because she didn't call you the matriarch.
We both know I've been called worse things than that. I think it's a terrific idea.
You do? Oh, Renee, I was hoping you'd say that.
I'll call Viki and the rest of the clan, and we'll come up with a real good night real soon.
Why do we need a special invitation for supper? Those members of my family who know they're welcome come to my house anytime they want, Tina.
So, come to our house anytime you want, Tina. I'll even let you help me plan the menu. Honey, I'll do everything just the way you like.
Oh, Renee, thank you.
Well, look who's here. You know, guys like you give yellow journalism a good name. You got guts to print a so-called interview about Dorian.
A guy's got to make a living, Mr. Buchanan. You can respect that.
Respect for scum like you?
I only wrote what Dorian told me, like it says on the masthead. Print the truth and take the consequences.
Listen, sonny boy, if the intruder wants the truth, you come to me. You don't go to some born liar like Dorian. But then again, you two are like buzzards of a feather.
I really like the way you can turn a phrase, Asa. And since you didn't say this was off the record, I'm sure you'll make good copy. As always.
Court's resuming, folks.
Mr. Callison, call your witness.
Thank you. Call Dorian Lord to the stand, please.
Dorian Lord.
I mean, where's Clint and Cord?
Clint? He went back to the Banner, and Cord said he had to go home for a little while.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Be seated. State your name for the record.
Dorian Lord.
Miss Lord, you were in the hospital the night Michael Grande was murdered, yes?
Yes, I was.
Now, you found yourself in the stairwell. You were making your way down the stairs when you heard voices from below. Whose voices were they?
It was Jake Harrison and Megan Gordon.
This was just a few minutes after Mr. Grande had been shot.
Yes, as I learned later.
There you go. Would you tell the court what you heard Miss Gordon say to Mr. Harrison and how she said it?
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel's asking for conclusion based on sheer conjecture. Ms. Lord didn't even see the defendant. She only heard voices.
Miss Lord knows the defendant well, Your Honor. She knows her voices, she knows her moods. I believe she's capable of rendering an accurate opinion.
Since you're only asking for an opinion and not expertise, I'll allow it. Answer the question, Miss Lord.
Well, Megan sounded very upset, agitated, not at all her theatrical self. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even taken note of it. There was something extreme, even hysterical in her voice.
What were her exact words?
She said to Jake, Mr. Harrison, I can't believe I let it go this far. I didn't want to do it, but Michael pushed me.
She said the deceased pushed her?
Yes, and that he wouldn't stop smiling at me He didn't even feel an ounce of shame about all the horrible things he'd done to my family.
What did Mr. Harrison say in reply?
He said that anything that happened to Michael, he deserved.
Thank you. No further questions. Go away.
Oh, no! Is it always this violent with clay men and doughboys? This is terrible. Oh, I think it's time to introduce... Oh, wait a minute. This is someone to save the day. This is a heroine. She comes in. She's the plastic flying around. She's green. She's pink. She's going to save the day. She's all good. Oh, she doesn't want to fight. She wants there to be peace. She's a superhero.
Oh, that's my kind of superhero.
Hi, Cor. I didn't see you stand there.
Well, I didn't know you would be here.
Yeah.
Well, what we got going here? Oh, my gosh, looks like a real war. Well, I gotta have part of this. How's she doing, guys? Is she part of this war?
No, I'm losing, but they're making it so much fun, and boy, did I need some fun.
Oh, yeah?
I thought you were going to be at the courtroom all day with Tina.
Well, actually, I already filed my opening piece on the trial over at the Banner. But I had some free time. I thought I'd come back here and check out my two buddies, see how they're doing. Looks like they're making a mess.
They're doing famously well, as usual.
Well, then how about give me some of this clay so Daddy can work on his own man here, my own warrior. Maybe work off some of that aggression I worked up over listening to that trial.
Oh, not a good day,
you,
huh?
No, but then again, being here with everybody like this, it kind of makes that time seem a long way away.
Yes, it does. It makes it seem far, far away.
Yeah. Okay, listen, what's going on here? Like, is this peacetime or is it wartime? I think you're a bunch of girly men. I'm ready to beat you up, Clay, man.
Well,
no, don't hit my head.
Miss Lord, you say you were in the hospital stairwell a few minutes after Michael Grande was killed.
That's right.
But in fact, you arrived at the hospital a full hour before the fatal shot was fired, correct?
Well, actually, I'm not
I can
exactly
present several witnesses who will testify to having seen you enter the building, in case you can't remember.
Oh, no, there will be no need for that, now that I think about it. I believe I was at the hospital about 20 minutes earlier.
And you went straight to the stairwell?
No, I went to the gift shop to buy some chewing gum.
To buy gum? And it took you 20 minutes to select the right flavor?
Mr. Nichols, I did not say I spent an hour in the gift shop. Afterward, I went to Roger Gordon's room. I was worried about him.
I'm sure you were, Miss Lord. Were you worried that he might not recover from his wounds and that you might be charged with accessory to his murder?
Your Honor.
I will draw the question. Miss Lord, whatever your feelings for Roger Gordon, there is no doubt about your feelings for Michael Grande, is there?
I really don't know what you mean.
You hated Michael Grande for using you to lure Mr. Gordon to the warehouse, where he was nearly killed in an explosion.
I blame Michael, naturally. But then so do Roger's daughters and everyone else who knows what he's done.
So you didn't just go to the hospital that night because you were worried about Roger Gordon, did you, Miss Lord?
No, I went to ask for Roger's forgiveness.
Of course, Mr. Gordon is in a coma and can substantiate your story.
Well, Viki Buchanan can. She was there and came into the room and asked me to leave.
Where did you go?
Well, we went into the corridor and, well, Viki and I had words.
Words? Angry words?
Our conversation was personal and it has no bearing on this case.
You talked about Michael Grande, didn't you? Didn't Mrs. Buchanan remind you of the mistake you made in trusting Michael Grande?
Well, perhaps, but I don't recall, really.
Do you remember a conversation that took place earlier that day between you and Michael Grande?
Well,
This is an affidavit. Sworn to by Mrs. Verdon, Michael Grande's housekeeper, who was too ill to come to court.
Accepted.
Mark this Defense Exhibit 1. She testifies that at 2:30 p.m. on that day, you paid a visit to Mr. Grande at Grandeview. Is that true?
Well, actually...
Mrs. Verdon heard shouting, angry voices, bits and pieces of your conversation. Then when you were leaving, she heard you say to Mr. Grande, and I quote, "Someday, somehow, I'm going to make you pay for what you've done." Mr. Grande only laughed it off which made you even angrier as you slammed out of the house. Well, Miss Lord?
I may have paid a visit to him. We may have even argued,
And
but it
you
didn't...
may have seen him again that night at the hospital. You were still upset from seeing Roger Gordon lying in a coma. Upset by Viki Buchanan's charge that you were in part responsible for Mr. Gordon's condition. You hated Michael Grande for making a fool of you, for using you, for placing you in jeopardy with the law. Then suddenly, you saw Megan rush out of the hospital lounge. You heard laughter, the familiar laughter of Michael Grande.
Oh, well, come in, Dorian. I just had a nice little chat with Megan. She blames me for everything but the San Francisco earthquake. How about you?
Well, she's right. You tried to ruin Vicky's campaign, and you succeeded in ruining her.
Oh, which upsets you a lot, didn't it? Since you were riding his coattails, ex-husband becomes future husband, right?
Oh, yes, you were making millions of dollars, laundering drug money, and then you try to kill Roger because he is so close to exposing you. He is lying in a coma, and you are running around scot-free.
Well, you just can't ever prove any of it, can you, Dorian? Never.
Probably not. But I can make you pay, Michael. I can make you pay. No! No, that's a lie! It's a lie!
No, Dorian! You're the liar! Trying to save your own skin.
Order! Order! I want order now!
Tonight, a blues legend comes to Brewster Place. Then an attorney uses sex to win a case on equal justice.
This is Charles Gibson.
And Joan London.
Tomorrow, special reports from Washington as the Gorbachev-Bush